This is Jen Giannacco with UNE's DigiSpace. I'm here today with Anthony Marciano, who is going to give us a quick tour of his blog. And I'm going to start, Anthony, by saying thank you for being here.
Of course.
And if you could tell us a little bit about what's on your About page to get us started.
The first at the top is my Clifton Strength Report. I simply have that there for employer purposes. When working in teams for internships or for prospect employers, they like to see where you stand, your traits, your skills, because a lot of companies use the Clifton Strength Assessment. Right under I have my Instagram, which showcases some of my personal life, so it's a little personal twist, as well as some of my artwork and some of my design work. Down here I have my little bibliography / bio, where I give more depth on who I am as a person and what I do, some of my hobbies, my major, and what I kind of plan to do in the future.
Great. And have you shared your ePortfolio outside of UNE?
I have used it for an internship application. I think that it's a great opportunity to have a portfolio that's free and given to students to use for other means than just simply classes. So I did put it for a job or two.
That's great. All right, so now we're going to take a look at your blog. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the context of this project and what were your goals?
Sure. So this blog is created for CMM 240, a communications social media class, and it's a really creation-based class, so we create a lot. Every week we have different tailored assignments that kind of challenge us in a different way. This blog particularly runs for the entire semester, and every week we are to create a blog post on a different topic that's under a subject that we care about and we can write about and we won't get bored writing about. So, for example, I did food. I started with the pasta unit because I really like making pasta. These are all foods that I care about and that I really like, so I knew that I wouldn't get bored writing about them, and the teacher encourages that. So I started with pasta, went on to sushi, and now I am doing a dessert unit to wrap up my blog.
Cool. And do you reference other blogs in your blog as well, or how do you decide what to incorporate into your posts?
Yes, very often I am referencing other blogs. I use a lot of photos for instruction and for aesthetic purposes. I tend to take inspiration from a lot of food blogs that I've read before that I really like. For example, Bon Appetit is an Epicurious-based food blog that essentially just makes a ton of recipes, and they're all really creative and cool. So when living on campus in a dorm, it's sometimes difficult to make the food that I'm actually writing for. So I end up taking inspiration and riffing off of certain recipes and crediting them at the end.
And I'm noticing that you use a lot of different pictures, like images, to help people understand, what the goal is here. But I wanted to talk about this one in particular because some images, we include because they're visually interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about why you chose this particular one for the sushi blog?
Sure. So I often include static photos just for aesthetic purposes. This one in particular looks nice, but it also serves as an instructional image. So as we move on down the line, we have a rolling section on this post. And this photo up here is sort of a reference for people to know where to put their fingers, how to use the mat, and how to actually layer their sushi rolls. So I think that's helpful to use as a reference in the recipe. I believe I say look up at the photo above to see how to roll the sushi.
In terms of the photos that you choose, how do you choose what to include in your blog?
Sure. So I use, for a majority of my blog posts, I am using photos from Unsplash, a loyalty-free photo platform that posts photos for free use. I am sure in most of my posts to credit the authors of the photos, even if they are royalty-free, as well as use a Creative Commons license for my entire blog. I have that at the footer of my blog.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what that means to you, Creative Commons?
Sure. So Creative Commons is essentially a regulation that is sort of used to tell people what they can and cannot do with your work. I have currently the one, I believe, that they can share my work and they can remix my work and edit it, but it cannot be for profit. So there's a lot of different options that you can choose from. There's very loose ones where it's like they can do whatever they want with your work as long as it's not for profits.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to show us about your blog or your site when you look at it from the design major standpoint?
So I kept it really, really simple. A lot of people like to have fonts in their blogs, like to have large headers. I know that with food blogs in general, it can be really difficult to follow instructions if the design is really complex. So I kind of went for something that was customized. See, I used bold and I used hierarchy and I used italics just to make it a little fresher and not look bland. But I also use a lot of lists and bullet points that just are a way to kind of organize them to make it easily digestible for my audience. So it's not very complex at all. And I tend to use the same simple, basic layout for most of my posts, but I just think it helps in that sort of instruction standpoint.
Great. All right. Thank you for being here
Yeah, of
today.
course. No worries.
And I look forward to reading your next blog.
All right. Thank you so much.